kind of some authority in bringing mindfulness into the corporate world, and that may be true, but basically I'm just an old happy hippie meditator from Denmark who somehow went to the dark side and took this beautiful thing of meditation and mindfulness into the corporate world. And now it says effectiveness and performance up there. And it sounds so brutal and hard. Now we're taking meditation and using as a tool to earn more money. That's not what I'm going to talk about. I am, though, going to make a very clear link between the thing of training our mind, just like we just heard research is saying. It's really making a mind that is more sharp, that is more clear, that has less of the negative afflictions, and thereby being able to be more present and more positive about the way that we're living. So I'm going to try and make that link. How does mindfulness actually work in a corporate setting? And I need a switcher right here. So my first question would be, why do companies like the ones you see up here, why do they use mindfulness? Why do they use mindfulness as a tool for their employees and for the leaders? And as you can see, it's not just like small companies, we're not like soft companies. We've got McKinsey, American Express, companies like that up there, really hard-performing blue chip companies from around the world. We're working with all of those, and they are using mindfulness because they can see that their employees and their leaders are living in what we call the paid world. You get paid for your job, but paid here means something else. It has four letters, which is an acronym for 4 words. And maybe you will recognize some of these from your own work life. The P stands for being under pressure. So just with a raise of hands, how many of you feel like when you're at work that you're under some kind of pressure? Most of you. That's good. It's probably not good, but thank you. Being always on with our mobile devices, iPhones in our back pockets, iPads, so on. Who feels that you're always on when you're at work? And I guess many of you also when you're home. Information overloaded, lots of information that we have to take care of and deal with. Hands up or hands down? Yeah, so it seems like you're quite like the Americans and the Europeans, the Asians. It's good to see. And then living in a working environment that is distracted. Lots of distraction coming towards us all the time. Can you recognize that? Hands up? Okay, good. So welcome to the global family of the paid world. The paid world can also be expressed in a much simpler way with 2 images, which I'll show you here. On the left-hand side, we've got like the nature of work life some decades ago. Some decades ago, we had to focus on one thing, which was whatever we were doing, a typewriter, a dictaphone, whatever. That's what we could focus on. But nowadays, nature of work life is like lots of streams of information at the same time. How many of you feel like you still belong in the left paradigm up there? We've got one, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Congratulations, you're the first one who says that actually. I never heard it before. It's great. So then from a neurological point of view, what is happening to us? What is the brain doing when we're confronted with more than one stream of information at the same time? What the brain does, it tries to solve all of it at the same time. Does any of you have a good guess of a good word that describes what that is when we try to do more things at the same time? Multitasking, thank you very much. Okay, multitasking, yes. So multitasking is the way that we work nowadays. Multitasking may not be the best way of working. So let's just do a short test to look at multitasking, and then I'll show you some scientific research on multitasking. So what I need you to do now is to take a piece of paper, if you have a piece of paper, and a pen. I'm going to test your ability to multitask now, or the sharpness of your mind. So what I'm asking you to do on this piece of paper, first of all, as you can see on the screen now, draw 4 horizontal lines. That's not the test in itself. Having done that, I'm asking you to write, not yet though, but on the first line, I'm a great multitasker, not yet. As soon as you've done that, you write 1, 2, 3, 4, up until 20. When you've done that, and I'll be timing you while you do that, write up there how long time it took you. Are you ready? We will start now. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. I've done this test a lot, especially in Melbourne. 15 seconds. All people from Melbourne would be done by now. 20 seconds. 25. 30. And my guess is by 35, which is now, you will all be done. Did you make it? Well done. Next thing, you'll be writing on the next 2 lines, I, not yet, 1, 2, M, A, 2, sorry. Just don't follow my instructions. Just do what it does on the screen there. And I'll be timing you once again. So basically, I'm asking you to multitask. Are you ready? We'll start now. So 5 seconds. 10 seconds. 15. Quite a few of you are done by now. What's happening to you? 20. Take your time, but hurry up because we don't have all day. And don't make mistakes, by the way. No mistakes, please. 25 seconds. No mistakes, but hurry up. 30 seconds. Still writing? Come on. 35. You were all done by now before. I see people still writing. Just continue. 40 seconds. No mistakes, but hurry up, please. 45 seconds. Okay, I'll give you 5 more seconds. 50. So if you're not done by now, just forget about it. Put the paper down. You don't need it anymore. I have a few simple questions for you. How many of you were approximately twice as fast on the first one as on the second one? Hands up. Seems like most of you, probably all of you. How many of you made mistakes or were about to make mistakes in the first one? Hands up. A few. No? Yes? Thank you. How many of you made mistakes or were about to make mistakes in the second one? Almost everyone. Great. Not great, but well done. The last question is, how many of you found that the last one was a little bit more stressful than the first one? Okay, so 3 fundamental things about multitasking. Takes longer time, we make more mistakes, and it's just a bit more stressful. Okay? So having done this little exercise just so you can maybe get a little idea of it yourself, let's look at the research on multitasking, because there's been done lots of research on this, especially from Stanford University. And what they see is that there are at least 7 downsides of multitasking. And I won't go too much into detail with it because I think you're all getting the picture where I'm getting at. I'll just share the first one up there, which says it's reducing efficiency. And it says switch time. The reason is every time we're switching our attention from one thing to another, like from I to 1, A, 2, it takes a little bit of time for the mind to really transfer the attention back and forward. And doing this, like from an email that has some complexity to a phone conversation when the phone is ringing at work, it actually takes up to a few minutes before your attention is fully attuned to this new task. Does any of you make switches during work life? Few ones, yes, of course you do. We do that all the time. We just have to be aware every time we're doing it, we're basically losing time. Then, as you can see, decreasing quality hampers creativity, kills overview, reduces well-being, drains energy. And then the really interesting thing is, it's rewiring our brain and making it our default way of working. So if we allow ourselves just to multitask away, we become really good in multitasking, which means we're reducing our efficiency, reducing our quality, hampering our creativity, and so on. It's not very desirable, is it? I forgot to ask, are there any great multitaskers in the room? Probably yes, right. There is a more fundamental downside of multitasking. So, as we saw, we live in the paid world where there's a lot of information that makes us multitask. That has some negative consequences. But one much more fundamental, and this was published in Harvard Business Review. Edward Hallowell, he went into organizations for about 20 years, and he looked at people's ability to pay attention to what they were doing in the present moment. So like paying attention to an email, or in a meeting, in a conversation. And what you can see is that over the last 20 years, the ability to pay attention has dropped radically for people living in the paid world. Attention deficit trait is what he's calling it. And it's not in our genes, it's in the environment and our way of dealing with the environment. There's been some other research done looking at how many percent of our waking hours, including at work, is our mind actually wandering away from our tasks. How many percent of the day are we actually suffering from attention deficit trait that we're not present? Any good guesses? 80. It's not that bad. Does that say something about you, maybe? Okay, the answer is 46.9%. I don't know where the 9 comes from, but that's maybe you can explain. Just a way of measuring, of course. 46.9% of our time, while at work, also at home, we're really not paying attention. And that's interesting because, from a logical point of view, life is in the present moment. The past is gone, the future has not come yet. If we're not present in the moment, we are not living our lives. So we're basically wasting out here. And if we are at work to actually do something, to solve some problems, to deliver some tasks, and we're not paying attention almost half of the time, that's an interesting one, isn't it? If any of you are company leaders, you may ask yourself, what are your employees doing back home in the office right now? 46.9%, they're just daydreaming. Interesting. Okay, so this research was done in the States, and I'm sure it's much different in Australia, but I'll give you the chance of figuring out for yourself if it's different for you. So I'm going to do a little test with you now. Are you game for a little test? How good are you in paying attention? It'll just take like 30 seconds. And I'm asking you just for 30 seconds now to close your eyes. And then attend fully to your breath. It's not mindfulness training, it's just attending to your breath. Focus on your breath. Don't think any thoughts, don't listen to any sounds, on your breath. All right, you can open your eyes again, let go of the breath. Please keep on breathing, but return your attention to this room. And with an honest raise of hands, how many of you were actually distracted by some sound or some thought that came into your mind during these 30 seconds? Quite a few of you, probably most of you, yeah. So this is not just an American thing, this is probably a global thing, and we're working all over the world and we see exactly the same thing. It's really difficult to stay present with what we're doing. It's a little bit like this guy, Peter, sitting Monday morning, trying to attend to his work because it's important, but his mind is somewhere else, playing golf. Finally, later on in the day, he gets to play his golf. Wonderful for him. But again, he's in the future, hopefully thinking of his wife. And finally, at the end of the day, with his wife or whoever it is, we don't know, back at work again. Poor wife, anyway. So this is what the modern mind is like, very much wandering, drifting off. And it comes because we're living in a very, very distracted world, making us multitask, losing our ability to pay attention. And thereby goes effectiveness, thereby goes performance, thereby goes a lot of well-being as well. Can you recognize it? Okay, that's a shame. Okay, so I'll talk about some positive things, which is how can we overcome this? Because we can overcome this. And the good news comes from neurosciences. And they're basically telling us, and you've heard this a few times during this conference, that our brain is plastic, neuroplasticity. It's really a science that is saying our brain is reshaping itself every second. Everything we do and think, everything we hear and see is stored in our brain. And things that we do repeatedly is creating connections. You all look like you're hypnotized. Oh, it's the video, sorry. Yeah, this is just to hypnotize and keep your attention right here. So basically this is showing what the brain looks like from the inside. Neural networks. And it's recreated all the time, depending on how we're using it. So we can basically train ourselves to be more present, to be more focused, to be more present with what we're doing and pay attention to whatever we're doing. And also to pay attention to changing things in our mind, in our body, in our life. So that's the good news. And then leading into mindfulness training. What is mindfulness training? Now I'll give a little bit more simple definition than you did, because we work in the corporate space, people have very little time, and we just have to give, very headlines. Mindfulness training, very simply put, about learning to manage our attention so that we can pay attention to the things we want to pay attention to, including our kids when we read the goodnight story, or our partners when we're having a good conversation. No matter what we're doing, paying attention. So it's a little bit like going to the gym. You go there to lift some weights so you get stronger muscles. Mindfulness training, I know, I went to the dark side, as you can see. Mindfulness training is really about training the brain, training the mind, to be better at what we want to be better at. Whether it's a parent, whether it's being a leader, whether being a good accountant, doesn't really matter. So then, how do we train the mind? There are basically two things that we have to do, very simply put. First of all, we have to do this as a daily thing. We have to sit down, close our eyes, do a training, which I will guide you into in 6.5 minutes from now. There'll be a brain break of 5 minutes where I'll guide you into this, what we call the ABCD. Very simple way of training mindfulness. So that's the most important component of living a life where we are more present, where we're training our mind to be present with what we're doing, both at work and at home. That's the first thing. I'll just skip that one for now and come back to it. The second thing that we need to do is to bring this into everything we're doing. So when we're at work or when we're at home, that we bring mindfulness into our way of acting in the world. And had we had 2 hours now, I would spend 2 hours on 2 rules, which I'll just put up on the screen now. I won't go into depth with them because it takes a little bit more than that. For those of you who will come to my workshop tomorrow, I'll definitely spend a lot of time on that, because this is where we can really, really train ourselves to be more present. So I'll just do it briefly. First of all, we have to always keep the rule of focusing on what we choose. So the wandering mind that we talked about is a mind that just involuntarily wanders off in all kinds of directions out of our desire. So the first rule says, focus on what you choose and always do that. So be really conscious about, where am I attending right now? Having that mindfulness, bringing it back to what we're doing. And then, of course, in work life, we are incredibly busy. And there are so many distractions, right? So many things coming at us all the time. So what the mind does just by default is it's grabbing also all those attentions or distractions and wandering off. So the second rule says, very basically, choose your distractions mindfully. And the important word here is mindfully. So not just to go into all distractions, but choose the ones that are really very important, the ones that are overruling what we're doing right now, if anyone should overrule that. So this is really bringing mindfulness into an active way of living with mindfulness. Really being present right here and now, and before we change, be really aware that we change. This sounds very simple. And when we train this in organizations, we spend 4 months getting people to think about these 2 rules and apply them in everything. The results are great, but it does take a long time. It's no quick fix. Mindfulness is no quick fix. As we could see at the Shamatha projects, they spend average of 6 hours a day, right, for a long period of time. You don't need that much to get even tangible results, but I think we won't get more telomerase activity out of 10 minutes a day. Anyway, these 2 rules you then need to implement in everything that you're doing. And that also means the way that we're dealing with our inbox and our outbox, the way we conduct meetings, the way that we are really clear on our goals and making the right priorities and all the stuff we are doing. So really bring it in, embed it in our way of working, so that we are not just thrown into the paid world, multitask away and losing our ability to pay attention. So it's a very holistic thing, goes into everything. Could also make a list up there saying, reading bedtime stories for your kid, making dinner, doing the dishes, going to the toilet, bring it into everything we do. Right? And the results of bringing mindfulness into work, at least in the way that we do it, has been researched by researchers from around the world. And as you can see, some of the results up here: increased job performance, which is great for the organization, but increased work-life balance, which is great for the individual. So there's a mutual benefit there. and also increased quality of life. I mean, if that's not wonderful, I don't know what it is. I think it's fantastic. Increased focus and attention, perfect, that's what we're training. Increased job satisfaction, decreased emotional exhaustion, which is the core component of burnout and stress, and decreased turnover in tension. So some companies think, if people start to meditate, they'll just start to think this is a crap place to be, and then they'll leave. It hasn't happened yet. People actually have a stronger intention to stay with what they are doing. Yeah. So these are some of the results. Then I would just like to share 3 examples of companies who have actually done this. What were their motivations and what did they get out of it? Are you ready for that? And I'm just doing it to show that it's very different things or reasons why companies are doing this and what they get out of it. And the last one is the most important one. So the first ones I'll just show to show something. Carlsberg, very, very high performing company. Actually very crazy organization. Anyway, this is Kenneth, and he brought it in a very large scale in all of the IT around Europe. And he really wanted more effective people, and that was great, and kind of got that out of it. Also more happy people, he said afterwards. But that was kind of, the organizational benefits you were looking for, and that's what they got. Google, of course Google are doing it. They just do anything, and we were at Google yesterday, and I spent time with Google in Singapore a few days ago. Google is just a wonderful company, and this is Lauren. Lauren is the country director in Singapore and emerging markets, and he's really looking for the individual benefits. What do my employees get out of it? And as you can see, more presence, engagement, and meaning. Of course, out of that comes more productivity. So great again. But I think where mindfulness is really, really, or what it is really about, is something totally different. And that comes with this last slide, which is from a very large insurance company in Scandinavia that we worked with for a number of years. When they started this, the sales director, Thomas, he said, I really want to be more effective myself, more productive, more focused. That's why I go into this program. After 3 weeks, he came back and he said, I'm finding something very different. We're becoming better human beings. And then he also asked the question, so why do we become better human beings? We're just sitting for 10 minutes every day and then we try to be present with what we're doing. And I think the reason is very simple. When we do this training, centering our attention, we somehow come to peace with ourselves. And when we come to peace with ourselves, it's very easy to find peace with other people. Actually, it's very hard to find conflicts with other people when we're at peace with ourselves. Have you ever noticed that? It's sometimes annoying. If you're really peaceful, it's very difficult to make a good conflict. Anyway, so mindfulness is really about finding the peace within so that we can make peace without, and thereby making a more peaceful organization that makes more wholesome and peaceful decisions for the environment, for the employees, for the world at whole. So that for me is really what mindfulness is about. So I suggest we do a short mindfulness training, because now it's time for the brain break. So what we'll do now is basically just stay in your seat, and this ABCD that you saw up there before, I'll just guide you into that. So first of all, the A is about the anatomy. So sit comfortably. Make sure you relax. Relax your shoulders, arm, neck. And then direct in a gentle way your attention to the experience of your breath. And just sit and observe this breathing in and breathing out. Any sounds, just notice the sound, go back to the breath. You may want to count your breathing. So at each out-breath, count. First out-breath, count 1. Second, count 2. Count up to 10 and then backwards down to 1 again. And the last instruction is the D for distractions. So every time you find that you're distracted in thinking, distracted by sounds, distracted by your body. Just be aware, hey, I'm distracted. And then gently return your attention to the breath. And we'll just be like this for a few minutes. And so in your own pace, you can let go of the attention on the breath, open your eyes and return the attention to this room. And just imagine big organizations around the world doing this in big meeting rooms, 10 minutes every day. It's changing the culture. It's changing the way of relating to each other, the way of working. And it's a very, very beautiful movement that we're seeing. So, just want to end by saying that if any of you are interested in working with us, we are always happy to look at people who got the potential to go out and deliver this. If you are that, then you can come to me afterwards, give me your details, and we'll be in contact with you. Also, if you want to have the slides, I'm happy to send them out or any of the referenced articles. So you can come and let me know. I'll make sure you get that in a few days. And for the rest, I'll just wish you a further fantastic conference, and thank you for your attention. Were you with me for these 25 minutes, by the way? Attention drifting off? Okay, very good. So thank you very much for the time and attention, and hopefully see you another time.